Do you consider trying to get justice for Ishrat in case it is true that it was a fake encounter? Do you consider it as some sort of personal challenge or personal responsibility?
No.
The way you pursue it or the way I've seen you speak about it?
I have been told that that's also a criticism, that I speak with a great deal of aggression and passion, which is not right.
Which is fine, I think.
But many times, yes. But I don't think, for me, it's more about bringing in the discrepancies in the case, and especially if it's happening in the same state over a period of time. But I don't know why hasn't anybody noticed the fact that I fought with the same passion in the case of Dalits who were arrested from Nagpur.
I've seen that story of yours.
When they were arrested as Naxals. Yeah, I think that's one story I'm really, really proud of. And when I was pursuing the case, I think I came back to Delhi and I was sick for a month. I remember going back, not as a journalist, but just to check on the facts of this case. I was doing the story about the Gujarat blast accused, the family, one of the accused family. The entire family was questioned by the Gujarat police. One of the husband was basically involved in the blast in Ahmedabad. So this lady called me once at 12 in the night saying, the Gujarat cops are here at my door, so they're banging the door, what should I do? Ideally I should have said, I've done the story. Just leave it, just call up the neighboring cops or lawyer. But I don't know why. Unfortunately for me, I was in Ahmedabad, so I traveled all the way to her residence at that point of time to ensure that the cops did not harass her at that point of time. But that was more like a moral duty. And even when it comes to Ishrat, I really don't know what's the truth in this case. Not about Ishrat, but about the cops and the IB. But from whatever the evidence points out, there has been injustice in this case. If I have a platform to write about it, why not?
Sure, I agree.
And yes, I do get passionate about it because anybody.
But you don't look at it as a personal challenge, because even to someone like me, who I'm not aligned one way or the other, I have equal amount of dislike for both BJP and Congress. It does appear to me that this is like a personal battle of Ranas.
No,
just the way your tweets, the way you argue about it, the way you write about this.
It's something, perhaps, this is what happens when you follow a case for about 4 to 5 years. I'm sure that a lot of other journalists do that, but I think I'm not able to detach myself from the stories that I do, especially if I'm if I'm involved in the story from the beginning, from the inception, right, from the time the FIR has been filed, and when you know each and every detail of the case, when you've actually gone about, digging around the evidence, and then in a way you get involved in the case, and then when you have people throwing in all sorts of accusations at you, then you become even more aggressive, and you think it's your duty to correct them. I don't know why, but it could be right, it could be wrong, but I feel it's my duty to correct people.
You think that space comes with a lot of self-righteous anger? Because I was reading a piece in Tehelka, June 2012. And you've got a paragraph or two on Zafar Sareshwala, Ajay Devgan, and Shock, the congressman, would come. How do you pronounce his name? Schock. That those 3 American congressmen would come when Modi was.
Yeah, it was Shock, I guess.
Shock is, I guess, how you pronounce it. So Zafar Sareshwala has been given a lot of pro-Modi interviews, being a Muslim, and Madhu Kishwar uses his example a lot, as Muslims are happy with Modi. Ajay Devgan had, that Google Hangout with Modi. You had in that piece kind of suggested that their support to Modi is motivated by financial gain. Like you started that Zafar Sareshwala, who's done very well in the last 12 years. His business has done well. And Ajay Devgan, who rumor has it, has spoken to Modi about some land for his film institute or something. Your suggestion was that their support of Modi is motivated by some financial gain.
Yes, it was, and I stand by it.
I'm just saying. So, you don't think that's a bit unfair? Because isn't it the same if someone says Rana's opposition to Modi is motivated because she's paid by the Congress? I don't believe she is. And if there's such scams exist, let me know. I'd like to get it on there.
But tell me,
do you think that's one thing? Do you think it's fair for you to say anyone who supports Modi is motivated because they are paid for it, but your outrage is out of righteousness? is that fair that these are my standards and I'm against him because I'm standing for what is just, and anyone who's standing for him is doing so because they're paid?
To enlighten you, the first piece about Ajay Devgan and the financial part first came as a headline in Times of India, surprisingly, in the front page, and that's where I carried it. That's where I took it from. So it's not me who has an opinion. It was Times of India and DNA, and I did a follow-up in that story. So it was not my opinion.
But the piece just says, and whispers are abound that Ajay Devgan has spoken to him about it.
Well, the whispers came about from his own bureaucracy and his own IAS officers who just suggested.
It suggested that you believe that. What I'm saying is that you suggested.
But tell me, what are editorials and write-ups all about? Don't we take a certain stand when you write editorials?
Sure.
So I think I have the right, especially when you cover the state for about 8 long years. I think you will have the liberty of perhaps at times giving an opinion or forming an opinion about a certain
I'm not
thing.
saying you don't have a right. What I'm saying is something different. What I'm saying is, see, I think everyone has a right to do everything. I don't think anyone can say, as long as there's consistency in one's position. कि भाई जब मैं यहाँ पर हूँ तो मेरे लिए A सही है, तो आपके लिए भी A सही है. So if your opposition to Modi is motivated not by financial gain but by what you believe, why can't someone else's
But what makes you think there's a motivation? I am motivated in this direction. Why just Narendra Modi? I have written pieces about Prithviraj Chauhan, Vilaswar Deshmukh Ashok, and I have formed and I have given my judgment on them most of the time. So what I need to understand is, why is it that every time I give an opinion on Modi is that questioned by most of them? And I mean, why doesn't anybody ask me ki, how much does Prithviraj Chauhan pay you? How much does Ashok Chauhan pay you?
How much
no, I need to know, because most of the time I'm asked how much does Narendra Modi. I tweeted the other day, between Volkswagen and Maruti, what do I buy? And then there were about 1,000 replies to that particular question who said, ask Sonia Gandhi which one you should buy. So, the point is...
So see, people, so now that is, just like your liking or disliking someone is based on the merits of the case, not because you've been paid by somebody. Why can't someone else's likes and dislikes also be on those same merits without the insinuation that Sareshwala, Ajay Devgan and
But that was not an insinuation. I have met all of them. That was not an insinuation.
And they have said that we support Modi because he pays us.
No, I have said them because I first met Zafar Sareshwala in 2004 and he refused to comment on the Gujarat riots at that point of time because he said, I have my financial commitments in Gujarat and I'm not going to comment on this issue because I have my business in Gujarat. Clearly, there was a pattern. Whereas Ajay Devgan is concerned, I had my sources in the film industry who said, no, he's getting up film property. So on my part, I thought as a journalist who has to write something which people should know about, I took a stand. But that's not restricted to Narendra Modi or Gujarat, it's restricted to other states as well. If any other journalist takes a line on say Prithviraj Chauhan or say Digvijay Singh and does not take a similar line with other politicians, then he has a right to be questioned. Similarly with me. But I don't think I have taken a line with just one politician. I think it has been consistent with most of the politicians. I take on Rahul Gandhi every time he gives a speech commenting about his speech writers all the time. I don't think so. I don't think.
So that's like shooting fish in a fish pool, isn't it?
Well.
Okay, we'll just move on from there. While you say that you're equally critical of Chauhan and the Congress and Rahul Gandhi, I had spoken to Tarun Tejpal a long time ago, about a year ago, on News Laundry in an interview, and I remember he'd said that, dude, you can't go for everybody together. You'll get hacked. Our media is not robust enough that you can attack Congress, BJP, Reliance, Tatas, everyone together. If you go after everyone together, you're done. Bye-bye, Tata. Do you think that's true?
I think I would not go. In spite of Tarun having said that, I think we have attacked the SR, Reliance and all of the business groups.
I'm just saying generally. Right now I'm general, then I'll come to you after.
See, I'm not in a position wherein I would face that kind of dilemma. So it would be unfair on my part to do that.
Because you do your story,
I
you're
do
not
my
running
story
an
in deep. So I don't
organization.
know what Tarun Tejpal really faces every day, what kind of crisis that he faces every day, whether he does or whether he does not face it, what kind of crisis does Rajdeep Sardesai face, or for that matter other media owners, houses feel. So I would not be in a position to comment on that because I do not face that kind of situation.
Right, okay. So I'll just tell you what he said, and I agree with him, for viewers also, that you can't pick on all of them together because they're too powerful, they'll finish you. In such an environment, I do believe that Tehelka is perceived as more anti-BJP than anti-Congress. And with good reason. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I think all of us have a right to go after one person more than the other. But just like that, the viewers have a right to allege that you are more harsh to a particular party. And there is merit in that. Do you see merit in that kind of a perception that people say Tehelka ka enemy number one BJP है, Congress भी होगा?
देखिए हमने बंगारू लक्ष्मण का स्टिंग ऑपरेशन किया, उसके बाद वाजिब होता था कि बीजेपी would not have entertained any one of us had we not been neutral, balanced. I would never want to bring in my religion, but it does matter, and it has mattered to me in my profession so far. A Muslim girl covering the BJP, having access to almost all the top leaders in the BJP, getting exclusive interviews of the BJP perhaps says it all about our approach. The fact that they still give interviews to us, give priority to us, shows that we have not gone on a witch hunt against the BJP. We have only picked up people who needed to be picked up for their misdeeds.
So you don't think that criticism is fair from
not at all.
Viewers and
not
readers?
At all. I mean, I'm being as honest as possible because I face it. I mean, I am somebody from Bombay who has never had any base in Delhi. I shifted to Delhi, I started covering the BJP, and I knew nobody here.
And you don't like Delhi?
I don't like Delhi as much for other reasons, but
we'll come to that also.
Yeah, but I was accepted. I mean, here I am. I mean, I am welcomed by every possible BJP leader. I mean, in Goa when we had this.
That's how the politicians perceive you. I'm talking about your readers and viewers. Do you think they perceive Tehelka as?
Well, you know, but there is a kind of impression that has gone out. I mean, that Tehelka is funded by Saudi Arabia-based agency. So what does one do about perceptions? That's all over. Perhaps you don't have to. That where does Tehelka get its funding from? Tehelka is pro-Congress. There are certain perceptions that are that are out there, and one can't really change it. However, having said that, I do believe
do you want
that.
to try to change it?
Why should one try to change it when we actually not in it?
Because you're actually
not on it. I mean, when you're not really doing something which is anti-BJP. I mean, you change something when you know, you know what, we have been anti-BJP. But the fact is that we have as many friends in the BJP as we have in the Congress, for that matter. I mean, Nitin Gadkari comes to our conclave and speaks, which at just about 2 days' notice, he comes for our conclave in Goa. That shows the fact that he has some kind of respect.
How was his speech?
His speech was very good. I think he spoke about the new voter and stuff. This was about 2 years ago. So I think the fact that they have placed faith in us is perhaps an indicator of the fact that, I don't know what really a section of our readers believe, but I think largely they think that we are.
You don't think it's fair?
And who are the people who you think are, believe Tehelka is anti-BJP? A section of readers on Twitter. But that's really, I don't think that's.
No, I don't think it's restricted to that. I think it's way larger. I mean, I'll tell you, I think that you are way more critical of the BJP than of the Congress, which is fine.
That's also my beat. That's also my beat.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Okay, that's it. But I'm just saying, and that's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. All I'm saying is I think that is true. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know where does that come from. I have written some, when Advani took out his Rath Yatra last, it was in 2010, I think. There were not many media wallahs who were covering his Rath Yatra at that point of time, each and every state that he went to. I was one of the few journalists who went on his Yatra and covered it. And I don't think it was very critical of Advani either. I think it was taken very well by the BJP, and I got mails from the BJP guys saying it was a very good piece. Now, that had nothing to do with the Advani versus Modi connection. This was 2010. But I'm just saying that we have given, equal importance. I have gone about to Nagpur to meet Mohan Bhagwat, and I've been entertained. Had we really been that biased, I don't think that would have been the case.
Okay, we'll come to Twitter now. Before we come to Twitter, you had tweeted about Delhi's rudeness or badtamizi or behudgi.
Ji.
I was very hurt because it's my favorite city.
Really?
And I'll tell you why, especially coming from Bombay. Whatever we may be, Abal Thackeray can never rule Delhi the way he could have Bombay. Because there are enough people to oppose that kind of a
Are you in a Bombay versus Delhi fight here?
No,
I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
I love Bombay. I'm just saying that a lot of people from Bombay really trash Delhi, and I just like them to pause and think that in a million years, no one can rule Delhi the way the Thackeray's rule Bombay like it's their daddy's bathroom. That is not possible in Delhi, and I think that says a lot for a city.
But yeah, you're not ruled by the Thackeray's, but you're ruled by those land sharks and then you're ruled by all sorts of people, politicians,
I can
Ajanta.
stand in front of Sonia's house and say, Sonia, hi, I won't get beaten up.
I have I remember 2 years ago when I started hunting for an apartment in Delhi, and on 3 different occasions, I've had to take my luggage back to my aunt's place because I've been told by the owners that they cannot give an apartment to a young media wala ladki, that too with a Muslim surname. Believe me, I have not experienced this in Bombay.
This doesn't happen in Bombay. There was a
It
sting
doesn't
operation.
happen.
Anirudh did a sting on
Anirudh
this,
must have done a song, but I'm saying that happens in Delhi also. In Delhi, nobody
Sure,
had
it does.
questioned.
I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying either is perfect.
But
I'm
in
just defending my city, that's all.
in this case, I could be biased because I've been. In this case, I could be biased because I'm from Bombay, so perhaps I don't take it
And I
Delhi.
understand. Although I do take your point, for a young girl, Bombay is a far more exciting and safer city than Delhi, and I take your point there.
But let me concede my bias here.
Okay, so you do concede that you're biased on this. Okay, now we're just going to go over we have got an enormous response to questions for Rana Ayyub.
How much am I paid? My Jaguar, so no, not that sort.
Those are there. We had tweeted that I'm going to be interviewing Rana Ayyub, so please write in your questions. I had requested many of you people not to abuse. Just send in your questions, but obviously some of you can't read, or if you can, just ignore that. So we will cut through the abuse and just come to the questions. I already had one. Dr. Uzma says, could you ask her why Hafiz Bhai did not put her up? Okay, never mind. Okay, no sense.
I don't even know what that means.
Me neither. One person has asked, Naqshband, were there any threats and vilification campaign once you did your expose? I mean, were you targeted by any group or political party or group of people?
I had to give a written complaint to the Chief Minister of Maharashtra for my security because there were indications that they could perhaps there could be an indirect attack on me.
Really?
Yeah. So I had to give a complaint to Mr. Prithviraj Chavan in Maharashtra. A threat to my life. I had given a similar complaint in 2010 because somebody had come to my hotel with this. I was expecting a courier from my office in the form of some documents, and I had spoken to my office in the evening. And early next morning, I got a call from the hotel reception that there is a parcel for you. So I went out and I realized I thought it was from Tehelka, so I just sent it to my room. And then suddenly I realized, it struck me that I had spoken to them only last evening. How could the courier come first thing in the morning? So I immediately ran down, and there was this packet just there at the reception. Luckily for me, the courier guy was still standing there. I said, where did this come from? He said, madam, हमको तो बस आपका address दे दिया गया है, हमको बताया गया कि आप यहाँ रह रहे हैं. So I opened the parcel, and there were about stacks of 500 rupee notes in it. So I immediately gave it back to him.
So what did you buy?
Sorry?
What did you buy?
Nothing. I didn't take it, unfortunately.
No way.
No, yeah.
Oh, dude.
There are witnesses to it. So I didn't take it.
Really?
Yeah. So that was a form of.
How much was it?
I have no idea. I just stored it. I saw the 500 stacks. So I had to write a letter in Tehelka saying, do not intimidate us and do not use this practice with us. We're not going to be intimidated by this. Then there were messages to me saying, we know where you're staying, which hotel you are. You are in this particular hotel, in this room number. So I had to put out a mail on Tehelka. This time around, I did not put it out in public domain because then they would say, oh, I'm trying to, on a campaign against.
You had mentioned your religion earlier, and like you said, you don't want to, but I think it's hard to ignore it if you're a reporter, especially with the BJP, and if you're doing something which has a backdrop of the Gujarat riot. You think sometimes you need to compensate because people will accuse you, and I think that is, one shouldn't be surprised. I'm sure you're not surprised when, say, you're a Muslim. Oh, one of the viewers has written in that please ask Rana to change her name because Rana is a Hindu name. मैं आपको बता दूं सज्जन, मैंने Google कर दिया था. Rana in Persian means queen.
I know that.
So, of course you know.
Imagine the feedback that comes into Mr. Ayyub all the time. It's heartbreaking.
Okay, so that is.
One good thing about coming on TV has been that they have figured my gender. Yeah, so and then he keeps sending me all those tweets.
Ashwani Singh had said, why do you put Rana in name? It's Hindu name. Rana is queen in Persian. So, okay, then if you just give me a second, because I just have to go through the abuse and just come to the question of consequence.
Is the abuse creative?
No, it's kind of predictable. Suvarna Tripathi says, do you want Sharia minority schools? Does she believe in history in India? And what is her take on the marriage of under 16? Yeah, recently there was that news about child marriage can be legal because...
I'm not an expert in Sharia laws. I would have been the first to talk about it. I'm not a very religious person either.
Yeah.
So I'm not very well versed with the Sharia, although I am very embarrassed about it.
Okay.
I should have been.
So I think Suvarna Tripathi has got her answer on that. This is another, other than your investigative encounters on BJP ruled states, they want to know, what have you done in Congress ruled states? When you say one,
Adarsh is the most striking example.
okay,
Adarsh, I have lashed out.
Milind Patwardhan has asked, other than investigating encounters in BJP ruled states, what has she contributed as a professional work? Here is your answer, sir.
Adarsh hai, of course, the branding of Adivasis as Naxals in Maharashtra. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Maharashtra is a Congress ruled state.
Both time Congress ruled state.
Yes, so yes, and I have done stories in Goa when the BJP was not in power. So I've done stories on mining in Goa on the BJP. I have done stories. See, I've only moved to Delhi about 2 years ago. So whatever stories I've done earlier were from Bombay. I was a Bombay-based reporter.
Right.
So it wouldn't be fair on me to.
And right now, because your beat is BJP, also I think our viewers should know, usually journalists have a beat and they follow that beat. So since Rana
Is
has
is
been given
BJP and investigation together. So you understand.
So it is
So you
not
see.
surprising that she'll get a lot of abuse because she's going to do BJP stories and being
Yeah.
a Muslim also. That also I'm sure is a big.
And most of the time, basically, my investigation is always linked with my religion. Unfortunately, fortunately, I don't know why.
Now, I want to bring your attention to a couple of tweets of yours,
Oh.
which you have recently tweeted after the bomb blast at Bodh Gaya,
Oh.
where you have
That's
said.
personal.
No, I'm just saying that you have said that, someone tweeted that how is it that when the, political environment becomes so hot, there's a bomb blast. Is it to divert? You have retweeted that with a and then you have tweeted a tweet of yours which says that similar lines, that when the political environment
That low
becomes
intensity
hectic,
blasts are always suspect.
are always suspect. To me, it appears that you are, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, suggesting that these blasts are political.
No, I'm just suggesting that one should not go look into the direction that we are being asked. For instance, the moment the blast took place, as usual, like the blast last year, you had the Delhi police ready with the accused, the organization and the recce. So my question, as always, was
how come they had all the transcripts ready? You had
everything.
this same thing.
Yeah. How do they write it? How do they have it? So which means it's all suspect, especially low intensity blasts at 5:30 in the morning, where nobody is killed, and with the kind of the kind of material that was used in the explosives. It's very obvious that this time around the blast was to prove a point. It could be anybody, but I suspected it could be political because of the timing.
So you do suspect that this could be
Like
done
any
by
other journalist, like any other investigative journalist worth his salt, I think I would suspect that there could be somebody else than the IM or the VHP or the Abhinav Bharat for that matter. It could be somebody else. We could leave the space.
Because it just appeared to me that you were suggesting that a particular
Not for Modi, please. No Modi connection here.
A particular political affiliation would benefit from
No
this
nudge,
blast.
nudge, wink, wink, Modi here.
It just came across like that to me. Honestly, I'm not just saying
Yeah,
it. It did
yeah.
come across that, dude, this is kind of,
But it wasn't just me. Believe me, it wasn't just me. I have had
but
since this
everybody
morning.
else than Rana Ayyub, because credibility matters here. Right?
Yeah, since this morning
So
I've
you
met.
tweeted it's different. If all these other abusers you tweeted, it doesn't matter. But if you do, it matters. That's all I'm saying.
Why? Because I'm a journalist?
Yeah.
But haven't other journalists done that? I mean, if some other journalist, right after a blast, places the blame on an Indian Mujahideen or certain other organization, isn't that also a bias? I mean, does it also not affect the credibility?
If it's
And they have done that. They have done that. They have done that. In 2007, India Today.
But I thought you were different.
I am different. I am different because I tweet by experience and not because of a bias. In 2007, mind you, there was an India Today story which I quoted in the Big Fight the other day. There was a story done by two very well-known journalists that we need officers like DG Vanzara in this country, to save this country from. So why not question those journalists today when DG Vanzara and the likes are behind bars for raping, sedating, killing? I don't want to name.
We'll get them here. Yeah, come on.
Please, yeah, you read India Today. This.
Okay, India Today. What year? We have to get this.
After this.
After this,
Yes.
I'll get this. You must get it.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And finally, do you have a favorite journalist whose work you
Yes.
really appreciate? Like
Many of them.
Like?
First, my father, who used to work with the Blitz, and who's been somebody I look up to because he is not very well known. He didn't cater to a certain organization or an ideology. He just wrote what he had to write. Prem Shankar Jha is a favorite.
Okay.
Because I've always, I don't know why, I think I've grown up on reading Prem Shankar Jha mostly, especially during my, so yeah, he's one. Kuldeep Nayyar has been one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another.
And Peter
Any-
Bojan internationally. Yeah, that's it.
And from the current crop, the younger lot,
That's difficult.
because they're your peers, your
No.
competitors.
No. There's some very there's some journalists who are doing good work. I like Ravish Kumar on NDTV. I think I think he's doing a good job in this chaos, in television chaos around. I think he's doing a very good job with it. He's brought that credibility to television news, which perhaps it got lost in this entire insanity. And so I think he's somebody I'm really appreciative of mostly.
And are there any whose work you think is just terrible? It just sucks. They should just like go home, dude.
Too many.
Like?
My lips are sealed.
Okay, fine. You're being polite, but as you see, we are not. But thank you for coming. Pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure.